We are charged to unearth the truth about our dark past, to lay the ghost of that past so that they will not return to haunt us.
Michael, we are in the Chamber Theatre 55 in Sarajevo. Sarajevo is not your home place. Your home place is New York City.
Yes.
You're a famous director, a very famous director, and I think it's a very famous director. And we saw parts of your last movie, which is called Truth in Translation.
It's actually called, we changed the title from Truth in Translation to A Snake Gives Birth to a Snake.
Every black person in this country knows your father better than you do. We saw them in the fucking towns.
Everything you suspect, everything you love, everything you hate, I am it. I am your memory.
Truth in Translation was done originally to try to bring the story of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of South Africa back to my own country, where I felt we needed it very badly. We needed to know what had been done and what was possible. And when you say freedom, for me, it was always about the freedom to listen, not just the freedom to talk, the freedom to be able to listen. And so I decided to do a production where I would tell the story of the Truth Commission, not through the eyes of the survivors or through the perpetrators, but through the eyes of the translators.
But they allow it. They understand. That's how you must feel.
The whole idea started around 2001, 9/11. It started because I had heard about what had happened in South Africa, that a nation had actually decided to tell the truth of their history to themselves.
I just wanted to know the stories, like about the man who got blown to pieces and stuff. Was that true? Did that really happen? Because it's so scary.
All the testimony comes from real stories.
Yeah.
The movie was about the actors who created that play and who traveled around the world to conflict zones and who had to test their identity and their life against other people coming out of conflict. So that phrase that always comes out of conflict is, the question is asked, why did you have to kill an 8-month-old baby? And the answer is always, no matter what culture, because a snake gives birth to another snake. And so I wanted that hard edge in this piece because these actors went through hell.
Right now, I am embarrassed to be white. I'm so angry with my fucking ancestors!
Working with 7 different tribes of South African actors, just emerging from violent conflict, we built a piece of theater. It was called Truth in Translation, and it was created around one question: can we forgive the past to survive the future? In the process, the actors began questioning themselves, began testing the multiple truths of their own reconciliation.
Our policy is one which is called by an Afrikaans word, apartheid.
I wanted to tell the story, what would happen if you could not turn away from atrocity, if you could not turn away from pain, but if you had to talk about it. And the translators who translated between victim and perpetrator in the Truth Commission were people who their job was to listen. Their job was to listen, to figure out who you are, and translate you, not just your words, but you. And we brought together a group of actors in South Africa who could have been looking down the barrel of a gun 15 years ago at each other. We brought professionals, actors together, and they began to tell their impressions of the story. Now, everybody has a different truth. And the idea was that they create a show that's made up of all the multiple truths so that the true truth can float above it and we can just absorb it and think about it. We performed in other conflict zones where people were asking the same question.
My parents were killed in the genocide. My brother was killed in the genocide. Very many people in my family were killed. everyone can be bad.
Et que tout le monde peut changer et devenir
Because we
mauvais.
are human.
The interesting thing was that for the first time I was doing a play about translators. And so the notion of listening was the entire drama. What happens when you listen, and what happens when I can't turn away? And what happens when I am responsible for your life because I am translating what you are telling, and that I am responsible for your story? That's what I wanted. And I wanted to tell the story of these people, and could they survive it?
I know the person who killed my dad. I know the children. When they see me, they run. It's not the answer.
C'est pas ça là.
Allow them to be with you. To hate
Être
you.
avec vous. Accepter qu'ils vous haïssent.
With time,
Et avec le temps.
they'll change.
Everybody talks about responsibility, but they very rarely talk about listening. They really talk about listening to what another person is feeling. Listening beyond the mask. What would happen? I wanted people to say, when they left the theater, I wanted people to say, if I drop my mask, I will not die. Whereas most people in this world think they will die if they drop their mask. So we took this play and took it to other conflict zones around the world. And what then began to happen is that as these actors traveled to other places around the world, they began to see themselves through the eyes of their audiences, and the audiences began to see themselves through the eyes of these people that were up on the stage. And so dialogue began. Fights, disagreements, but dialogue began. And that's why we started the Global Arts Corps, which is now, will build another story in the north of Ireland. We've just finished that. We're going to build another story in Cambodia. There's South Africa, there's Albania. We tell everybody's story. And in 20 years, I hope that there will be 40 different cultures of professional, great actors who have created stories and therefore can help anybody else create their story.
Because, dear God, you said a human being's bones cannot just disappear.
When people listen to the same thing, something goes through them and they know that we've got something to share. It may not be ideas. I may not love you. I may hate you. I may not ever let you marry my daughter. I may not do that. I may carry around, no, I'm not going to have dinner with you, but I'm not going to kill you.